We are live. Hey guys, what's going on? It's the Mastermind program, and it is for Philosophy Formula. We are in March, our second week. We're going through letting go to rise, which is such a pivotal, important module in the Philosophy Formula core content that we didn't get into it enough last week, and I think it's not something that we want to just gloss over. And I feel, and you guys can tell me if you feel the same way, but I think we feel a resurgence of the importance of this program in our life. I certainly do. I go on and on how it's affected me and blessed me and put me in a place now where I can really see clearly on who I am and what my purpose is. Whether it be a chiropractor, whether it's connecting.
See you next week.
See you, Crystal. Bye-bye. Connecting, leading, inspiring, whether it's in the practice and whether it's at home, wherever it might be. Those are my values. So I love this program. And I think that we've been in it long enough to take really look at it in a way, what's working for us, and then how we can make it better. So module 2, and Nancy, some of your posts this week were really so cool. I watched it, and I watched that video with the music, and it was just right where I need to be. So I'm going to just tiny little dialogue on my thoughts, and then let's open up for conversation if it's okay with you guys. Letting go to rise for me at the very beginning was really an evaluation or an assessment of all the stuff that I knew that I shouldn't be doing, but that I was doing anyway, that was holding me back from getting to the next level. Okay. And I think that's how many of us may perceive it the first time through. And that's exactly how we should perceive it the first time through. But when you start to do this kind of work and life starts to happen and you start filtering things through the Philosophy Formula, my life in particular lately has gotten to a point where I'm realizing that I am powerless over things over life, right? Life happens. Life is happening every single day, and maybe it's the same every day, maybe it's not, but as things come up, life happens, and realizing that the illusion of control is holding on to these, what I'll call them character defects, habits, whatever you might call it, things that give us a sense of security, a false sense of security at a time when things are changing, right? We love familiarity. We love the routine. We want to know what's going to go on the next day. We're afraid of change. We're afraid of what might happen. We're maybe afraid of, on some level, people are afraid of success because maybe it's unconceivable for us. And the unconceivable is the unknown, right? And the unknown can be scary. And so we hold on to what we know. And those are the things that hold us back. So as we hold on, are we really controlling the world? Are we really controlling anything? Or just keeping ourselves stuck? All we're doing is being able to reproduce the current results that we have. And like we said on the video, is we're happy we're not where we used to be, but it's not cool to be the same place next year, which means that we have to do things differently, right? So my thought is, as we let go to rise, maybe we just let go of or really pay attention to things we grab onto or that we hold on to for security, and realizing it's just an illusion, okay? Because how we act or react to circumstances in our life is what's going to create our actions are going to create our future. So our reactions and how we're adapting and what we're doing is creating our future. If we're reacting and adapting, doing the same thing, holding on to that old crap, we're going to get the same result. And that's where frustration lies. And the reality is this. It is about change. And if we want to create a different existence, right? Life happens. We can't control it, but we can control how we react, and our actions are going to dictate our results. So let's even think about the idea of letting go of the fact that the illusion of control. And I thought Nancy, and then looking at some of those fears and inconsistencies that were on that list that Nancy posted, and listen to that music and say, you know what, we were built for a plan and a purpose, God, or whoever your higher power might be, and just get to a place where you say, you know what, let me show up because I know my values. I know what my reaction should be. I'm not looking to impress anybody else, right? I'm looking to just show up and let go and let whatever is supposed to happen to people like us who do the right things at the right time for the right people happen in life. And I think that's where we're going to get the results we're looking for. So it's a little bit of a monologue, but then a little bit of a deeper or maybe a little different look at letting go to rise. So you guys, a little feedback, or let me know your thoughts. This has been a really cool couple of weeks for us. So
yeah, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Just because you froze for a second.
You guys mute yourself out just so you don't, if you burp or fart, you don't all of a sudden see your face on the screen. Don't you, Robin? You're the one talking. We're else. Okay. We're gonna be. Sorry about that.
I was like, how's that gonna work? So when you said letting go of the illusion of control, that like was the deep dive for me. Everything for both my husband and I, just because of how we grew up and stuff. I realize, like, I am driven by the not FOMO, fear of missing out, but fear of not knowing enough that becomes punitive, because there are so many things that just happen through my life that if I don't understand all the ins and outs, you know, there was nobody else doing the homework for me. My parents didn't do stuff. His parents didn't do stuff. And you know, just some amazing things got missed because of that. And so we also don't have children. So we don't have that letting go. So everything we've done individually and together has been our control, our will. We have willed our ways through everything, you know, including, you know, working full time, going to school part time, all that sort of stuff. So that really, like when you said that, I realized that my premises are actually, if you dive into them, fear of premises. You know, they're motivated by that. So like my premise is, you know, to know everything so that I can be informed. Well, but that's the real underlying piece was, no, I'm afraid that if I miss a piece of information, there's going to be some kind of punitive action taken. So you really opened up a whole nother level of worms, but you know, scabs and wounds and stuff like that need healing. So I've had to start going through all of my premises, looking for, is there really an underlying premise to the premise? So that's been cool.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that you say that. I was going back through the original. I've been watching Patrick's TED Talk a lot lately, and the original TED Talk. And it really, if you ever get it, just go back and watch that. It's 15 minutes long, and it really kind of gives you a really good overview of what we're really doing here, and really evaluating those premises. I think we tend to complicate things. I think we just need to be really conscious of and mindful of our thoughts on a daily basis and why we do certain things. Catch ourselves doing things, catch ourselves doing it. And then if you can catch yourself doing the pattern, the action, the thought process, you catch yourself and just rewind to what made you get to that point. Like all of a sudden I find myself going along and all of a sudden I'm also in a negative place, right? Not to beat yourself up about being in the negative place, but like what went wrong? Like how did I get to that thought process? How did I get to that old pattern? You know, the other thing about that is this, guys, you know, just because we let it go 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last week, doesn't mean it can't come back. As a matter of fact, we do, you know, or have we allowed some things we let go in our life and in practice and in relationships and in self-care, whatever, seep back in and, you know, because it's a comfort zone and is it back again? So, and it's okay, by the way. Like this is what I find, right? The things we hold on to are our things. Like these are our things. Those are our defaults, okay? And maybe even part of who we are to a degree. So not to beat ourselves up when we find ourselves there again, okay? Not to feel like it's all a failure and I can never change and I can, you know what? It's just like that's your tendency. And you know what? If it was your reaction to do it this time and you didn't, that's a win, right? And then tomorrow, if you do it instead, at least you didn't do it yesterday, and now you're finding that you don't have to do it. So it's like, don't be so absolute. just be mindful of where you're at in the moment and then catch yourself. And if you're thoughtful, right, instead of reactive, right, if you're in front brain instead of in midbrain, right, you start to realize how this subconscious is really trying to react and default to things that offer familiarity or they offer some level of comfort or some, at a time where maybe there's stress. So the question becomes, obviously I'm reacting to something that's uncomfortable. What is it? Because you get that one step deeper, then you can realize when that comes up, I can catch it before I get to the point where I'm already looking to go back into an old pattern, right? So it's just, I think it's being mindful. I think it's knowing other people who are being mindful, that are practicing these principles and bringing them up and just being real honest about it when things happen. So I think I'm getting much better at doing that, but I do it a lot. So if that strikes a chord with you, let me know, because I think it's really a matter of being really, we need to be really not so hard on ourselves. Be really forgiving of ourselves.
If you don't mind.
Sure.
One of the tools that really helped me with that, catching myself and realizing that is a negative behavior for my personality type, is the Enneagram. I don't know if any of y'all have studied the Enneagram, but it is a powerful personality tool. If you dig in and really learn your personality, you can catch those behaviors just like you were talking about and figure out what you need to do with them to get rid of them or to replace them with good behaviors. ENNEAGRAM, Enneagram.
There's the Master's Circle used to have a DVD or of a CD. I honestly can't say I actually listened to it. But I have it at home.
It was a CD. Dennis Perman put it out. I listened to that thing till I wore it out.
That's available out there, and it's one of those personality identify where you're at in the Enneagram, right?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
The Wikipedia page on it is very informative. There's a website, the number 9types.com is a good starting point as well.
Oh, this is gold now. This is gold.
I've studied it pretty deep. Robin, what you were talking there, you sound like a type 5 with a 6-wing. Pretty textbook with what you were saying there. Your behaviors are right there in line with the type 5. So it's powerful stuff.
Awesome. So that's ENNEAGRAM.
Correct.
Okay.
Ennea, I believe Ennea is Latin for 9. It's a 9-sided diagram to show the relationship, because each personality, I mean, we all have our own personality, but they do fit into 9 different categories. When I took the test, and this was, well, I was in the Master Circle 15 years ago. When I took the test and scored it and then started reading about my test, I got goosebumps because there's stuff in the book that I have thought in my head and never spoken out loud. And it was in the book. That's how accurate it can be. So it, like I said, it helps you catch when you're sliding down the wrong side and tells you how to get turned around and head back in the right direction. It's good stuff. Here's where my aha moment from the video, from the Letting Go to Rise, came from. And it was just this morning, actually, when I was rewatching it again this morning. And it fits into what I was just saying right there about the Enneagram. The difference between that Patrick talked about, the difference between intelligence, knowledge, and philosophy. Intelligence is the accumulation of facts. Knowledge is then the application of that intelligence. And philosophy is then the organization of your knowledge. So I've got a ton of knowledge on the Enneagram. Do I use it all the time with myself and my patients? No, because I forget to, because it's not, I haven't formed a philosophy, if you will, or haven't formed it into my philosophy. So that was a big breakthrough for me this morning, catching the difference between intelligence, knowledge, and philosophy. I feel like I'm a fairly intelligent and knowledgeable fella, but why is my lifestyle, my practice average, run of the mill, if you will? And it's because I've not taken the knowledge that I have and applied it using my philosophy.
That's gold again, Ed. I can really resonate with that too, because I've been thinking lately, I feel like I'm not taking the time. Like, this stuff needs to be thought through,
Right.
so that you own it And there's a ton of information and we have a ton of knowledge, but I have to agree that I haven't integrated it into my own philosophy. Then you
Right.
own it. So
I got so excited about it. I put it on my whiteboard in my adjusting room, and I've already talked with patients about it because I said, you know, we have the knowledge, or we have the intelligence to know, the example that I use with them just to make it real for them. So we have the intelligence to know we need to eat food. I mean, if we don't, we die. That's intelligence. Knowledge is then saying, I know some foods are better for me than others. And then philosophy is then the decision to make the decision to eat the good foods. So that's kind of the progress that I showed them with that. And I said, so many times we do get stuck in that knowledge area. We don't incorporate it into our philosophy.
so good. So good.
And the Enneagram is great for dealing with staff and great dealing with patients, right, Ed?
Absolutely. Yes.
So
Yeah,
I think
if you need just for instance, if you're needing to hire a accounts receivable person, and you know that that is a type 1 because they're so detail oriented with if you look at the Enneagram, the type 1s are very detail oriented. You need to hire a type 1. You need to be able to recognize, hey, this is a type 1 on the Enneagram, and at the same time, it also allows you to communicate with them too. If you talk to for instance, I'm a type 9. If you talk to a type 9 using type, I don't know, 4 language, they're not going to hear you. You're not going to be able to communicate clearly with them.
It sounds like it's similar to DISC, the DISC. Have you guys heard of that? Personality.
That's another one of the personality tests. The thing that I think stands out with the Enneagram for me is there's 9 types. Each type can have one of 2 what they call wings, which is your sub personality. So now you're out at 81 different options for personality. So it can get pretty specific.
Nice.
And then the other thing with it that I find beneficial is the fact that the DISC, the Myers-Briggs is another personality. There's lots of them out there. They all put you in a box. They say, here's your personality. The Enneagram says, here's the basic of your personality, but here's how you can get better. You can have better habits based on your personality. It's the only one that I know of that tells you how to improve your personality. You're not going to change who you are. That's what Patrick said. We're stuck with our past. But you can change your habits, which helps you improve your personality.
Beautiful. That is gold. I'm going to check that out. Thanks for that link.
I just threw a little link over there. And
I know that's awesome.
So Ed, just not to put you on the spot, but if we get to a point pretty soon where we have this postgraduate calendar of things going on throughout the week, right? We did a live interview at some point. Would you be interested in talking about it?
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
Talking about it, and we'll do a little live interview in the group, and everybody will that's the kind of cool stuff that we can kind of do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
That, like you said yourself, like we're all so. Not to keep, because I'm excited, so I hate to keep bringing it up, but I felt that for me, I would have liked for someone to be able to, hey, make sure sometimes that it's a little confusing when the post-grad module comes out because it's the second Tuesday of the first week. And if I don't know that and it's like, then I miss it. And then I don't know if, I don't get it in time. So having accountability for that should be key for us and with everything else, right? So deeper dives will be more fun when we're all diving together, right? No one wants to dive by themselves. So it seems to me like we all want to go a little deeper in all of this stuff, right?
And Dave, maybe you can find out from Pat, because he's on a mastermind call every week, right? Like wherever he's traveled over the world, he's never missing that mastermind call. See if how do they run their group? How many people are in there and what does each of them bring? Or is it just kind of like an open forum and everybody kind of just chats,
I think this right now is our mastermind group, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you think about it, what we're doing is we're going through the core content time and time again, one day a month, right? So what I think what our mastermind group should be is a real mastermind. We have this little mastermind circle of us who are highly contributing on a regular basis, right? That we already have a group. And what if we took that core content, the 11 modules, and we added it to the post-grad rhythm? Like we want to invite, this is what I saw, and we can talk more about module 2 in a minute, but there's only 4 of us, and except for Marla, we all got a little time to talk. But the way I see it is, there's a lot of people who didn't know that the postgrad existed. Maybe they got 1 or 2 emails at the end of the 11 modules. Hey, by the way, kind of thing, right? So, but they're all on the philosophy formula page. So if we really start to do some cool stuff on the inside, I would like the first week of the post-grad program for us to go over a module, our module, you know what I mean? Say we did it there instead, right? And then, because nothing's going on the first week of the month anyway but this, so let's make sure that's available for everyone in post-grad, because it's an important thing to do, right? So the problem is we're so used to connecting together on a higher level, we should just meet as well, like once a month, and just dive deeper into whatever we want to do, okay? Whether it's the module we're all talking about on the first Wednesday of the month, or anything else we want to dive deeper in, because we're committed on that level. And as people are in post-grad and they get more committed on a higher level, maybe they'll qualify to join this little circle that we have here. Make sense? And so those who want to commit, hey, you've been committed, you're involved in the post-grad, you're contributing on the page. Hey, we want to invite you into our little crew here. So everybody has the opportunity to get there, but it comes through the ability to really interact as a mastermind group. And then I'd ask Pat, what do you guys do? How does that work? Because I think that we can dive deeper, and then we could offer a lot more to the post-grad group, okay? I'll create the calendar, so there's a bunch of things, so they're all getting involved there. We'll get more people over hopefully from the philosophy formula group. And quite honestly, so there's this whole thing that I can see happening. I think ultimately what we're doing in post-grad should be something that we do weekly. I think we should talk more about our wins. I think we should have do like a live interview on deeper dives on best practice type stuff that we think is most important. So we can really have the cooler conversations that are going to give us the most return on our time and investment in our practice, and everything else when we're having deeper conversations, not just those open office hours that are limited to that module or whatever is going on. So it gives us more touch points. And by keeping you all in the mix, whether through Messenger or on Facebook, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I got that call today. I will make sure that you're on everything, okay? For you not to be there, because you just didn't want to be there. Because I'm that kind of person that's going to keep everybody accountable to the schedule on postgrad. And then this mastermind group, which is important for us to maintain this page, will just be limited to those people who have been contributing over the past few years, maybe the 12 or 13, and everybody else will port over to the postgrad group, where they'll still continue to have this as well as everything else going on that we're going to add. So I think it's be fun. It'll be fun. We're going to we're going to open the club more than just one day a week. We'll be able to the club will be open like a real club. You know what I mean? Where you're staying accountable to the things that we're talking about and having. And if we want to get into deeper, more intense conversations to help each other, where we need more of that trust, we have this. Sound cool? So I'll be able to maintain them all.
So my question was, so if we post something just to generate more interest, do you want us to post it in both places for right now?
I would say wait don't do anything for another week, and then in about a week, I think what we're going to do is we're going to create a post-grad Facebook page. Okay, so then what we'll have a philosophy formula page, right? It's confusing because everything's all on one page right now, right? So if you're in post-grad, if you're not, you're all getting the same Facebook stuff, and it's not a bunch of stuff going on. So we'll have the philosophy formula page, okay? And as a new class opens up, there'll probably be more interaction during those 12 weeks going on there, but they'll always know what's going on this post-grad page, because the post-grad page is where it's at, right? They're going through a course for 11 weeks, but then they're going to get into this live community. Post-grad is really a community, right? It gets built during philosophy formula, and then as they graduate, they enter this community. Like, I want them to know, some of them, I hope, will join philosophy formula just to get to post-grad. You know what I'm saying? Like, post-grad's got to be where it's at. That's like, there's so much going on there, interaction and conversation and wins and all that kind of stuff and inspiration, right? You're doing a lot of work during philosophy formula. You're doing a module at the beginning of the week. You're doing 3 open office hours. So if anything, I just keep them accountability to their class, right? And then as time goes on, they'll all end up over here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think post-grad it shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be the crux of it. It's those people who now know how to think, and now we're getting to work. And we're never getting rid of the original content, but we're exploring deeper dives into philosophy. So if post-grad is the master's degree, our group is the PhD, right? And our group is, you can't just get in there. You got to be here, and you got to contribute and say, hey, notice this guy in the post-grad's really, he's really involved. Like Wubben. Jason's got to be over here. Like that's like he's someone that can contribute. We're always looking for new talent to bring into our group. So if you think about it, it's all about looking and farming some great minds for us to really have some fun with and dive deeper with, even beyond the rest of the content. That's the way I see it. It can be fun.
That sounds awesome. Can we? Can I share, and you guys pick apart or find the contradictions or what I need to let go of, because there's something.
You're on.
So hang on 1 second.
Close the door.
Yeah, maybe she done. Shoot, I gotta take care of something, but I'm gonna leave you with what it is for a second, and then hopefully I'll be back and I'll try and record. But so letting go, we're always looking this whole section we were looking and contemplating of what we can let go of as in order to move forward. Okay. And I'm always looking at, like, I'll get into a good place, but then we're bombarded with come to this seminar and come to this seminar. I'm always looking at what I need to add. And I'm like, I get all excited. I'm like, oh my God, I got to go to this seminar and this is what I'm going to learn. I need to learn this technique. What tools do I need? And then I'm like doing this module, I'm thinking, I have it all. I have it all. How can I work? How can I let go of always wanting more? It is an addiction. Like, then it would get into another module, right? Which is the one, and then okay, in order to let go of this, I have to know and be certain that I have it all, that I can work with what I've got. But it keeps creeping up, like it's so strong. And what do we do? Is it just a discipline? Is it just affirmation? Because I'm strong, and then it's like I hit a ceiling, and then you think, is this as good as it's going to be? Is this all I'm capable of? Is this, and then those thoughts rear their heads. So help me let go of this, or I can't wait for this personality thing, because I'd love to do that, but I gotta go.
Okay, I'm gonna jump on it. I'm gonna start answering it, and then we're talking to you while you're not in the room, but you'll listen to it later.
No, I'm going. Yeah, and I'm gonna tape on my phone. If I have to go, I'm listening because I'm taping you on my iPhone.
Okay,
go ahead.
This has been recorded anyway, right?
Okay.
So I think what happened, I think for me, when it comes down to the idea of there's something else that I need that takes the attention and the pressure off of me, because the idea that I don't have it yet means I don't have to do anything. I have to seek it. Someone else is going to give me the answer. Okay. And in that alone, that would be much easier. Imagine if someone, oh, here it is. Oh, that's what I needed to know. That was the procedure. That was, the way that I should have said it. And that was what gave me the breakthrough. And the reality is this: it's not another procedure. It says it in the TED Talk, right? It says it in all this stuff. It's not about more procedures. It's really about going through, looking for the contradictions. What is the contradiction? If you're hitting a ceiling, okay, you've been in practice way too long to not be able to. But the hard thing is to take the hard look at what you are doing, because that takes more energy and effort. And you may be emotionally attached to some of your procedures or some of your things that you would not do. And I'll just say this from my experience, in the process of letting my practice go, or turning it over and changing everything, I couldn't exist the way that I was practicing. And the thought was, maybe I can't practice at all. I mean, this shoulder is just not going to do it. I'm inflamed and it's sore and no one's coming to help me. And I just was poor me. And, what could I do? I waited too long. I can't even go to market with this practice because I can't go another week, let alone another month with this way that things are right now. I'm done. I'm miserable. I'm screwed. And you know what? So that was my all I saw. But the reality was there was another option. So when the other option came along, and that person was going to take the practice over, they looked at my expenses. They looked at what I was doing and said, well, I wouldn't do that. Well, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. And started taking things out of the expenses and the procedures and things that I was doing in my practice that didn't have any value to her. And quite honestly, I've been through a process of taking as many expenses out as possible, but the ones I was holding on to, I had an emotional attachment to. The procedures that I had, staff members that I had that I just couldn't let go because they are so loyal here. They did that 4 years ago, and how could I possibly, because they had to get, like this is the stuff that if you really looked at why I was holding on to those things, it was really more about maybe pleasing others, or I was attached to an expense that I rationalized myself to think that I needed, and then I rationalized myself to keep it. And the other person came along and said, well, I wouldn't do that. And they, wow, you just saved me $400 a month. Wow, you just dropped me $1,000 a month. And just all of a sudden, completely gutted any expenses I had because I would have never done that myself. Which means, guess what? Why couldn't I have done that myself? All I'm trying to say is I could have done that myself. I probably wouldn't have unless I was in this situation. But the reality is it was possible, And now I'm looking at there's no expense right now. She's not able to take over a portion of the practice for a little while, and I'm existing on a lot less overhead, okay? The second thing that's going on, I had a hardest time going cash, right? Because how do you get to take away the insurance that pays my bills? And it's like, and I went through free form. You know what? Guess what? As this other person is taking over aspects of my practice, I'm realizing the people that are coming to see me once or twice a week, I'm seeing like 80 people on that day, right? I just saw like 40 people this morning. They're all my cash patients. They're all my self-pay patients. And I'm like, well, if she's going to take over the part of that practice, and I'm going to work 1 or 2 days a week, and it turns out my shoulder can take it and I actually feel better. What if I just did all cash on Tuesday and Thursday, all self-pay clients? And then they all go, and all the insurance can go elsewhere. She can have that. I keep everything at a low overhead. I had a $35,000 to $36,000 overhead. Okay. Existing this way, I'm going to have a $2,000 overhead. Okay. I had to make $35,000 to start before I paid myself. Okay. I probably bring in about $15,000 to $16,000 on the cash pay patients. I'm going to have a $2,000 in overhead. Okay. The building's paid for. I've got the person taking over the rest of those days, paying my taxes on the building. So it's a wash, right? So it just comes down to, if I can make $16,000 adjusting people 2 days a week, my overhead is only $2,000, right? And I have other days to work and do whatever I need to do. Holy crap. I didn't even plan that. You know what I'm saying? But if I didn't have, if I wasn't thinking this through and letting things happen, letting things go, and I don't even know why I was letting them go, I wouldn't be here. So rewind 3 months ago where I was totally lost, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy crap, this is a possibility. So it's just sticking with it and talking it through, and maybe talking to each other about some of those expenses. I think we find ourselves slaves to our expenses and to some of these things that we're afraid to let go of. And it's just a matter of talking it through. It's just a matter of talking it through. Do I need 4 or 5 phone lines? No. Do I need all these stuff? No. Right? So it's just a matter of where you're at and what do you want to do? And everything else kind of lines itself up. So does that kind of answer the question? You have it. It's cheaper because you have it all. Why? Don't spend any more money on seminars. Don't go to a seminar for 6 months. Don't go. All right. Look at what you have and realize you have everything that you need right now. And you probably have more than you need, and you probably need to get rid of some things, right? So I think it's more weeding the garden before you plant anything. Weed the garden. Go bare bones. Have fun with going bare bones. Because every dollar you don't spend on expenses or any energy you don't waste doing things you don't need to do is yours. You gain energy, you gain time, you gain money, and that gives you better self-esteem and more confidence and control. So I think you're right where you need to be. It's uncomfortable to look within. It's so much more comfortable to hope. The hope is that it's out there, and I'm telling you, it's not. It's just an illusion.
That
you got to let go of that illusion. That's what you got.
Exactly. And again, I mean, that's gold. And what to go back to what Ed said earlier about thinking it through, getting all that information and integrating it into a philosophy. Like that step, I think is so powerful. So this was an awesome call for me, guys. I hope it was for you. Thank you. And I missed like 3 minutes, but I recorded it on my phone. So thank you.
I had so much fun I'm having so much fun this month that we met twice. And then we're gonna meet again like next week 3 times. So this is something's up. Something's happening in the world of philosophy formula. And I think it's because, and I have to say it's because people like you guys, we have really saw the value in it. And at some point I've been blessed and in some aspect of it. And we know there's so much more in this mine. We'd have to dig out the gold, and there's a lot of gold in there. So let's keep it up. Hey, Marla, I know that you got a lot going on. So just tell us what's happening over there between those 2 practices and what's happening.
Hi, it's interesting because I was in that whole thing of, do I go to the smaller office or stay in the larger office? And the smaller office was, it was going to cost $35,000 just to get it in good condition to work in it. I didn't have that. So, and it was so funny because the doctor that was over there, we were talking beforehand, and it was like, hey, come work in my office. And he's like, no, come work in my office. I like the windows. And I go, I don't like the windows. I've got a bigger office. Come work in mine. And so I was working to get mine leased out so I could move over to his. And in the meantime, he stopped his lease. He wasn't in a lease. He was in a month-to-month. So he just stopped it. And I went, okay, now it's empty. Anybody can get it. Okay, that's interesting. But something wasn't working out because he had an old x-ray and I didn't want x-ray, and 2 other doctors were wanting to move and they wanted x-ray. And I'm like, it suits them better or And so now, because I know a new grad, he just came out and he came over to look at my office, and he's going to put up $37,000. His dad's a chiropractor. So I think he's got some support behind him. So I'm going to take him over and show him the other office. I go, it's already built out with x-ray. Maybe this will suit you. And it's been a chiropractic office for 40 years. So that would be an amazing place for him to move into. So now the doc that was over there, we're both activator doctors. So now he's coming into my office to treat his patients because he gave up his office. And so we're back at where I was trying to go back in last October, which is to have him come in here and help share the overhead. So it's interesting. Then I had another gal come in, and she was like, well, if you were to rent out the rooms and have everybody working in the rooms, you could have like a positive cash flow of $3,000-$4,000 a month. Then you could go create a little cozy, little boutique chiropractic like what you want, and you could have it all. That'd be great. And I'm thinking, okay. I go, have you thought about doing that? Is that something you would want to do? Because she's very entrepreneurial. She owns salons and stuff like that. She goes, yeah. So she goes, this could be a new business model, kind of like an Airbnb, how they came up. And then you could start setting those up in other places. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, I never really thought about doing something like that. But anyway, it was her idea. So now I'm looking at, okay, how can I just increase my business here and stay here, So one thing I'm wondering about is I've got this software. Maybe you guys could chime in. I got this.
Can I ask you a quick question before you go there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How does that feel?
To stay here and make it bigger?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not like being on my own, but if I have the right people, it would work. I think
you'd be in charge of the place, so you're the primary person, right?
Right.
Then you're on your own, and they're giving you money. Mm-hmm. Right? They're paying for your, probably handling a lot of your overhead, right?
That's how I would structure it.
That sounds fun to me.
Yeah.
Money for nothing is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's, yeah.
You're not adjusting those people and then having so I think that expense cripples us, right? Cripples us. And I didn't realize I was the frog in the boiling water with that high overhead and with the hurt shoulder. And it's like, I got to keep a level of volume up to keep the expense, but my shoulder can't. This was one of those things, and that's where I was stuck. And things have come up, right? People need that space. So my Enneagram, whatever my personality be like at this point in life is I'm a lot less into growing the big, large practice because I already know what that entails as far as energy is concerned. And I wouldn't even do it if it made more money. I wouldn't do it. Okay. But there's ways to. It's not about how much you grow; it's how much you keep, right? So you can. I mean, running on a low. I think that's the biggest problem right now in chiropractic is it's getting expensive to run a brick and mortar office. So if you can share expenses with somebody, a friend of mine, he's got his rent is $1,500 a month where he is. That's pretty cheap. I mean, if I rent myself from my own practice $2,500 a month. That's without my taxes, right? So that's what I pay myself in rent to be here. That's what I'd have to rent it out to somebody. He's at $1,500. He's not even in the office on Tuesday and Thursday. One of my thoughts was rent this place out to a restaurant or whatever that could be, a hot dog stand for the triple net lease at $3,500 to cover my taxes to be making money. He was going to allow me to go in his office, split his rent. I would have been $700. And when I brought my cash practice over there, like I said, about $15,000 to $16,000 automatic on the first 15th of the month comes into my account. I mean, how could you, the only reason I'm not doing that is I want to stay here. And I also have the opportunity to give someone who's worked for me an opportunity to grow their practice on the days that I'm not here. And I'll make less money, but you know what? I feel okay with that. You know what I'm saying? And then I can take it from there. So it's me. It's not about bottom line, how much I can make the most out of the situation. But energetically, I love my space. My patients love being here. Far less of a headache. So I'm staying like you're staying, right? But I'm going to make it better. So the days I'm not here, I have another doctor here, just like you are. And they're going to pay me to be here. And we'll share electric expenses and the heating bill and all that kind of stuff. So, hey, we can do anything we want. That's the beauty of it. This is about, and module 2 is about, this is all about creativity. We can create different, we can't change who we are, but we can create different versions of ourselves. So just not locking into old thought processes, right? And just, having what I call TP time. Take a little bit of time, go into the TP and just ask, who am I? What do I want to do here? And then what's the best case scenario? What feels right? And I just think the universe will align with exactly when we're on point. I think I really do believe that. So cool.
Can I answer Nancy a little bit?
Sure.
All right. So when I heard you, because I have done that too, like I would always be on the verge of a seminar, like I'm adding something to the practice, and then someone says, "Oh, you should go take that seminar. You're kind of doing it anyway." I'd go through the whole thing, get certified. Nope, I just add that little piece that I was originally adding in anyway. And Patrick said something the last talk that stuck with me. He said, at some point, the world is full of seekers. We need finders. And I think there is a point where I have to step into, with my 28 years of experience and knowing the work that I have done on myself, I need to step into that role as a finder. And by virtue of the fact that we're in this group, yes, you can continue to be seekers, but we are, we need to acknowledge that we are finders. We have done the work. We do have knowledge to share and impart.
Have you guys watched the new module, post-grad module yet? It's called, it seems similar to last month, right? I didn't catch the first couple of minutes of it, but it's the give let principle, right?
Right. He had mentioned in the philosophy of action that sometimes you have to give and sometimes you have to make and sometimes you have to let.
Right.
And he kind of lit up on the side. And that's where he's like, okay, like I said the philosophy of the let make paradox. And so this is a continuation.
So guys, we went through module 2. We've gone through the last 2 weeks. This module really piggybacks on that. So definitely jump right into that one like tonight and start chunking through it, because next week is gonna be awesome. Because I think we're setting ourselves up for breakthrough. I really do on every aspect. I'm feeling this energy starting to emerge, and I think it's the result of a bunch of people still going through a process, and we're at a whole nother place than we were when we started this. And we can't exist going forward the way that it is right now. We know we need a little bit more accountability. We need maybe each other, or we need the conversations with each other to help each other support, go to the next level. You know what? I think it takes 2 or 3 years for a program like this to mature to the place where we trust each other. I mean, I remember climbing that mountain, whoever was there in Utah, and we became a family at that point. I really feel that happened at that point. But as that family has kind of come together, we've had deeper and deeper dives into this, and we've had deeper conversations. People are changing offices, and life's changing, and stuff's happening. We're really feeling this synergistic process occur. So I think it's a great time for us to see some, and so we change it up a little bit so it looks and smells and tastes a little different. It's the same core content. We have a whole another grasp of the material than we ever had before. And I think that we're looking to see some really fun things happen in all of our lives. I get so excited hearing about, Robin, just watching, you weren't even in practice when you went through the program when you were there. And, Nancy, whenever, we were talking when we were away in Utah and what's going on with Marla and Ed, it's just like, in my back of my mind, know where you're going through. And I'm drawing from these experiences and the journey that we're all on together. And let me tell you something, man, 4 years ago, this technology in my world didn't even exist. To have lunch on a Wednesday with chiropractors in California and Canada and Tennessee and Maine and all at the same time, like, it's ridiculous. So let's jump on this. I'm surprised more people aren't doing this, but since we're doing it, let's rock and roll. Okay. So I really love and appreciate you guys. If I went back and looked at the Hangouts over the last month or 2 or a year or so, I'm not going to, because I don't want to see the person that was so stressed out before. So I'm not looking back. I'm burning those boats. I'm letting go, and I'm just letting, the universe, God, direct the future of our relationship. And I really think we're on a rocket ship to really help each other go forward. That being said, Jim is not feeling well, guys. I mean, you saw the post. It's just, tears at my heart. Jim's a really cool guy, and I know he's strong. He's going to get through this, but he's one of our family members who's kind of struggling. He's watching the videos. He should be on the video, but I want him to know that we love and support him. We're sending healing prayers his way, and he's just a rock star, man. So I can't wait to see him on one of these calls coming up soon. So that's my sign off, guys. If you want to sign off, say goodbye.
I have a question. I hope this could be quick. I have software that I'm paying $350 a month for the software for the EHR, and I wouldn't have it except that I've got Medicare, and I have to fill out Medicare, and I do maybe 3 other people with insurance, but the rest of my practice is cash. And I'm wondering, well, what does everybody else do for EHR? Or, I was going to go over and look at another doctor offered to show me how she works with Office Ally. Office Ally would be $100 or less a month to use. So anybody have an electronic health record thing that they use?
So you need electronic health records because of Medicare?
Yeah, so I send off the Medicare things.
And how many people do you have on Medicare, you said?
I think she's in.
About 25% of my practice is Medicare.
I have ChiroTouch, so it's interesting that you say that. I'm not sure when I go cash, if I'm going to just hand all of the ChiroTouch, if I can exist while the other doctors practice, because a lot of notes are in there. If not, I would look into something like that. If it's $100 a month and it handles your notes.
Office Ally, yeah, it does. It handles.
I don't know anything about it, but Anybody else know about that?
Office. What, Robin? Turn up your mic.
I use Office Ally as a clearinghouse. You know, I like them for that. I know that that's pretty reasonable because I use Eclipse for my software, and that's, you know, $1,000 a year. So that's falling right in line with what Office Ally is. So I would say that that's a pretty good deal.
Office Ally is a pretty good deal. But
Yeah, at your $100 a month. Yeah.
Could you ask that question, put it in the mastermind group, and then repost it? Like, don't share it, just cut and paste it in the philosophy forum of the page, and let's get some answers
about the electronic health records.
Yeah, see what people are using. That's exactly what we should be doing in our community groups. We'll get some feedback.
Okay, Ed, what is it that you use? Do you use Atlas or do you use Office Ally?
I use Office Ally as a clearinghouse, like Robin was saying. Atlas is my EHR. It's EHR, billing, scheduling. It's everything all in one, and it's I think it's $197 a month. There was an upfront fee and then $197 a month, and that includes all updates and everything. It's been a good software for me.
Cloud-based?
No, it is not.
So you have the server?
We have access to it, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mine's cloud-based, which is kind of nice. But so you have the two different ones. You have the one where you pay up front like $8,000, and then you have a monthly maintenance fee. Atlas does that. I don't know if ChiroTouch does that. But then there are the ones that are just cloud-based, and you just do a monthly. And it starts off with a contract. So I'm in an 18-month contract. Starts off with a contract, but it's just monthly throughout, rather than. But the upfront ones tend to be less expensive over the long haul.
Atlas, I think it was not 8,000. I think it was only 1,200, 1,500 up front, something like that.
Oh, nice.
And instead of cloud-based, I use Go to My PC so I can do remote work at home.
Yeah, that would probably work. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
How much is ChiroTouch, Dave? Do you recall?
When I got it, over a decade ago, it was $8,000, $7,000. And then my software was about the hardware that I have it all over, computers all over the place, was about the same. And I don't know what I pay a month. I got to find out about that. But I would rather get into something, because I need something simple for a cash base. I'm going to do cash. So if I might take my if it's easier to hand all of my ChiroTouch over to the people, to the other, there's two practices existing in my office, the ones that are running insurance, if they can take that. If I found something that I could schedule, do notes on, and is also, I can maybe do an online scheduler. I would love for that to be going on, or at least have access to that, because I'm going to have a staff member who's going to, we're not here on Tuesday and Thursday, they'll be able to answer phones remotely and then be able to hopefully work a schedule over the cloud. So I'm sure that's available, even if it's massage therapy has that. I'm sure chiropractic has it.
Rosie's salon for massage therapy is really good for the scheduling. Rosie, ROSY. It's like $30 a month. Okay. And you can do email campaigns. You can do, it does auto reminders for texts. It says, hey, you haven't been here in 3 months. It does all those things automatically. It's an amazing little software. Cool. But they don't do notes, patient notes.
Okay, so that'd be good for scheduling. Okay.
Really good. Mm-hmm.
Just get some simple note system. Or I think I can do it through ChiroTouch. I mean, it is my stuff, so it's supposed to have notes somewhere. I just won't be. I don't have to bill out. That's the only thing that's cool about it. Mm-hmm. All right, awesome guys, great call. I'll see you next week, a couple times, right? So post in the page for that question. That'd be really cool to get some interaction. And the other thing is, I said, once I have a meeting on Tuesday with everybody, and then I'll have more answers. And then from there, I'm going to probably be reaching out to you guys. Just if we can hop on a call, I'd love to get your individual feedback on just your own, what you would like to see happen. What do you like? What do you don't like? What are some of your wins? And I'm really going to press a lot of people for some testimonials. And my thought is, as a group, I would love to see more people in post-grad, okay? Because we have like 60 people in post-grad, right? So I'd love to see it not only increase the value, but increase the number. So if we had some, and I'll give you the format, you just shoot a video with your phone. I'll tell you exactly what bullet points to hit, and then shoot it. And that would be huge for this whole program. because then we can throw them over on the Philosophy Forum page and hopefully let people realize what's going on the inside here and start to get a good, energy going up again. So that's my sign off. So guys, have a great week, and I'll see you inside the Facebook page.
We'll see y'all.
All right. Bye.
Bye guys.